You see, this is what happens when you're a massive fraud. This is what happens when your entire career or your public image is built on a mountain of lies. When you are a political puppet, a political product, literally picked and molded to be marketed to the young, impressionable voter. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is that fraud. Of course, as we know, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez auditioned for the role. She was marketed as the queen of woke, a leader for young progressives everywhere, to finally have representation in Washington. Except, of course, that whole thing was a fraud, a facade. I guess the mask is finally starting to come off. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, once again, heckled in public. This time, not by a random base New York City Chad, but by her own people. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on and let's talk about it. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright friends, so here's the moment that everyone's talking about on Twitter. This clip in less than 24 hours, racking up millions of views.
You refuse to call it a genocide in front of everybody.
I need you to understand that this is not okay.
It's not okay that there's a genocide happening. You're not actively against it.
You're lying.
I'm lying?
You're not.
You went on TV and avoided talking about it.
For what? Because now you can't say it's a genocide or what? You're deciding the political race. You can't call it a genocide. Then how do you say it? We're not lying.
We're not lying.
You've been
We're not
saying it in
TV.
interviews. It's insane. You haven't been calling it a genocide. Don't tell me I'm lying. Then just say it's a genocide. Just say it. Over 30,000 people are dead, AOC. You can't just say it for once. Just say the word. That's it. That's all we want you to say. Or you're not angry about people confronting the public when you can't call it genocide. Over 30,000 people have died.
Stop. Okay? Stop. Stop.
We're not doing anything. We're just talking to an elected public official. That's all we're doing. That's it.
Just cut it, and you're going to cut this, and you're going to clip this so that it's completely out of context. I already said that it was, and y'all are just going to pretend that it wasn't over and over again. What's up, man? And you're not helping these people, and you're not helping them.
You refuse to.
You're not helping them.
Yep, what you are seeing there is essentially a video example of the left cannibalizing itself. Of course, as we know, you can never be woke enough, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is now, I guess, learning the hard way. In that clip, a progressive leftoid harasses Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, criticizing her over her refusal to call what Israel is doing in Gaza a, quote, genocide, and of course refusing to call Joe Biden Genocide Joe. What you just witnessed is Democrat dysfunction, the growing rift between Washington Democrats and the far-left insanos that they've been housing in their party, while the chicken's finally coming home to roost. The Democrat Party isn't the party of far-left socialist revolution. No, they simply sell you that illusion during the Democrat nomination process. Then once they've secured your vote, they kick you to the curb, pretty much first to go out the back door. And yes, even your progressive queen Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is compromised, is beholden to the Democrat powers that be. AOC, the far-left progressive, challenging the corporate Democrat status quo. Oh wait, AOC immediately after assuming her role became the biggest establishment Democrat shill known to mankind. Here's an article from April 23rd, 2021. AOC says Biden exceeded progressive expectations in first 100 days. By doing what exactly? Well, not exactly sure. I guess just promoting the talking point that Joe Biden will be the most progressive president since FDR. Isn't that what Bernie said?
You earlier said that you expect Joe Biden to be the most progressive president since FDR. Is that still possible?
Absolutely it is. But what I will say is if the resolutions adopted in the task forces are in fact implemented, it would make Biden the most progressive president since Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
AOC, the anti-establishment pick, headed to Washington to shake things up and hold power accountable. Goes to Washington, D.C. to do what exactly? Advance her progressive agenda? No, she's never passed a bill before, of course not. No, she spends her time in Washington making sure to get in front of the camera to make statements to the media and to the public in defense of Hunter Biden.
Thank you so much, Ranking Member Raskin. I think the Ranking Member stated it completely. What we just witnessed over the last hour was, I think, a deep-sea fishing expedition because the Republican case has completely fallen apart over the last several weeks. After it's been exposed that the critical, one of their most key pieces of information was based on a source that was in communication with Russian intelligence. They are now trying to scramble to find anything to substantiate their fairy tale, is what we should call this. But I think more disturbingly, what we are seeing is just a complete and inappropriate expedition into the president's son, and for matters and subjects that are completely unrelated to an impeachment investigation. And I think it is extremely disturbing to see the lack of professionalism, the lack of grounding, and the abuse of public resources and abuse of public power in order to pursue something that truly, whose point at this juncture is very unclear. And with that, I hand it.
Hunter Biden's guardian angel.
AOC's on CBS for the live document hearings.
Mr. Zuckerberg, I'm having trouble understanding where you put all our data.
Whoa, she looks like an angel.
Congresswoman, I don't think you know how data works.
Did you spend all our data?
And she sounds like a really smart bartender.
Not exactly the anti-establishment progressive trailblazer. An absolute fraud, but when criticized by her own people, the people she pretends to represent, she throws an absolute hissy fit, suffering a meltdown, claiming that's not true. Well, here's the thing, AOC, it's definitely true. We have the receipts. Honestly, finding this clip or this fact check or finding this clip was pretty easy this time. I remember including it in a video a month or two ago.
Some of your colleagues, and we talked about what's happened at the protests this week, have called the president Genocide Joe. Some of your colleagues have accused the president of supporting genocide, including Rashida Tlaib. Do you agree with that word, genocide, that the president's been supporting a genocide, or does that go too far?
I think what we are seeing right now throughout the country is that young people are appalled at the violence and the indiscriminate loss of life. We are not just seeing 25,000 people that have died in Gaza. We are seeing the starvation of millions of people, the displacement of over 2 million Gazans. We have South Africa that has mounted a court in the ICJ. The ICJ ruled this week that Israel has a grave responsibility to prevent genocide.
But they're still determining whether it's a genocide. Do you think that
they are
term
still
is responsible,
determining
given
it?
AOC delivering a word salad nonsense answer. In other words, refusing to call Joe Biden Genocide Joe or to describe what's going on in Gaza as a, quote, Israel genocide. In other words, fact check false.
You are fake news.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez once again exposed, and this time by her own people. When your own base, far-left progressive people, in your home far-left district are essentially calling you a fraud, well then at that point, there might actually be something to it. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.